Welcome back to Nani Nightly News on Channel 7. On tonight's installment of 360 Seconds, a Nani Nightly News program dedicated to bringing you, the viewer, hard-hitting, fact-spitting, drama-causing, heart-pounding, dirt-smearing, short-form, informative reports, we bring to you tonight Disney Studios, or How I Learned to Watch Other Movies in Not Just Blockbusters. And now, a word from our sponsors. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with blockbusteroma, you are not entitled to anything. You did this to yourself and probably to the ones you love. Blockbusteroma is as common as it comes and is a direct consequence of the overexposure to excessive reboots and sequels. Exposure to reboots and sequels in theaters, cinemas, home theaters, sleepovers, home cinemas, streaming services, and in-flight movies all put you at risk. Don't worry, there's hope for you yet. Just go watch a film with some semblance of originality. The American film industry, once heralded as the greatest producer of movies around the world, the birthplace of many great films such as Casablanca, Saving Private Ryan, and Star Wars Episode 5, according to my friend Luke, because, and I quote, "Why would someone try to argue that Episode 4 is better than Episode 5? Where are they?" and the 1968 Planet of the Apes, not to be conflated with the 1970, 71, 72, or 73 sequels. That also doesn't include the 2001 remake, or the 2011, 14, or 17 prequels, none of which ever reached the same critical acclaim as the original. Which brings us to this installment's topic for today's short-form informative report, how excessive reboots and remakes / unnecessary sequels are ruining the quality of movies in your viewing experience. Like any modern business, the American movie industry seeks to accomplish one goal: to make as much money as possible while simultaneously degrading the integrity of the product they're making. Like any for-profit company, the singular goal is, well, profit. And the easiest way for a movie to be successful before launch is to recycle older, previously successful titles. For example, of the 40 most successful films in the 21st century, more than 20 were sequels or remakes. Furthermore, if narrowed down to the top 20 movies for each year of the new millennium, half belong to one studio. And this studio happens to currently control around 40% of the American box office. And who would have guessed this? Disney Studios. The focus of today's installment is on one of the worst offenders, Disney Studios. Made famous for its animations throughout the 20th century, Disney Studios has recently fallen into the profitable yet destructive practice of remakes and reboots. Let's go see about that. Under the clever guise of being live-action films to complement their animated progenitors, Disney has been in the process of remaking many of the films that made them the studio they are today. Akin to the time you put a pink stripe in your hair to see different, Disney thinks that a new paint of coat garners your attention, and millions at the box office. Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty, and Aladdin are just the first wave of Disney remakes, each of which has failed in the eyes of both the audience and the critics. So why then does Disney keep making subpar remakes instead of the original movies? The short answer is money. The original 1992 Aladdin movie brought in $504 million, making it the highest grossing film of the year and the 16th highest of the decade. Now, profit aside, the film also received an astounding 8 out of 10 from IMDb and a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a place in the hearts of children across the U.S. Now, on to the 2019 live-action remake. While boasting an impressive $1.05 billion gross revenue, its ratings are less than impressive. Receiving a 57% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and a 53% from Metacritic, the same trend is seen for all the current Disney remakes. Audiences come in droves to theaters, like moths drawn to a nostalgia flame, then left only to realize that what was once great in the past will not be recaptured in the present. As a consequence of the monetary success of Disney, many other studios are also reproducing recycled content. And for our guest tonight, we have a local expert on the movie industry. He's seen all the movies that your little brother has, including the ones your parents didn't want him to watch. It's Dr. Zaker. Now, Dr. Zaker, it's my understanding that you've been closely monitoring the box office for the last 60 years. Are there any important trends that you've noticed?
Yes. In my 60 years of research, I have found several key trends. They are mostly related to the popularity in certain genres, or lack thereof.
Would you mind expanding on the topic?
I'm so glad you asked. I actually brought a presentation to show you.
Johnny, cue the presentation.
Genre. Genre is a culture toolkit that allows filmmakers to envision new culture products by building upon existing sets of artistic and narrative conventions. and thereby providing a privileged form of communication between aesthetic personal base upon pre-existing modes of expression. So what does genre do for movies? It mitigates risk, increases notoriety, and eases critic and viewer opinions. So the consequences of genre. The potential studio failure, resulting in reboots and remakes. And there are now only 4 major studios, down from the 6 in the last 15 years. In conclusion, genres, while helpful for audiences, also have negative impacts on studios and the movies they make. And that's just the general consensus of my research. If you read my
Well,
book...
folks, that's all the time we have today on today's installment of 360 Seconds, your favorite short-form informative report. I'm Max Kaufman, signing out.